So, hi everybody, it's John Lunn here, aka Jonnychipz, and thanks for tuning in. This is episode number 10 of my weekly update videos. Yes, I've made it to double digits. It's the 5th of March 2021, and this is going to be a Microsoft Ignite special. So thanks so much for tuning in again, everybody. Like I just mentioned, this week I'm not going to stick to my usual format. I'm going to concentrate purely on Microsoft Ignite. There will be a few little call-outs at the end of the video, but for now, I just wanted to jump straight on into all the fantastic announcements that have gone on at the Microsoft Ignite virtual event this week in March 2021. So, just jumping over to my desktop then, just the first thing to call out obviously is all the content that was broadcast across the virtual event is available for obviously an on-demand service, and I just wanted to call out really how you get to it. So hopefully, if you're watching this video, you would have also registered for the Ignite experience online. You can see that we've still got all the keynotes available. So we've got Satya's keynotes, we've got keynotes on the hybrid workplace, security, looking into the future and what is actually going on from a Microsoft perspective, how we're Microsoft envisioning what our future looks like. Obviously these keynote videos are there really to try and inspire and get people thinking about what the future actually looks like from a tech point of view. Obviously there's lots going on there. You would have heard about digital transformation over the last few years and tech intensity. And it's never been so true. I think we're probably all finding it a little bit tricky to keep up to date with all the announcements and all the news and all the fantastic innovations that are going on across the space at the moment. And that's just when we focus on the Microsoft stack. So for those of you that don't know what Microsoft Ignite is, it's traditionally been an in-person event. It was replaced, I believe, Microsoft Tech Ed series, which was a more technical conference, where basically you've got a whole bunch, thousands of like-minded IT pros, techies, people related to the industry, not necessarily a bunch of techies, but they all congregate into a conference center. There's a whole bunch of resources, talks, shows, events, exhibitions, a fantastic networking opportunity that we can all get involved with and all kind of learn and develop and talk about. Obviously, since COVID, lots of big companies such as Microsoft and others have had to rethink how they deliver these sessions. Now, Microsoft did an event, I think, back last October, November time. They announced then shortly afterwards that this March event would be. Now, traditionally, they're a one-a-year event. So it's quite exciting to see. It was over the space of a couple of days. I mean, dependent on what time zone you're in. I believe it started around about 4 p.m. GMT on the 2nd of March. And it went through, right the way through. So it's about 2 days overall, but across three actual days, if that makes sense. It's just a fantastic event, and I think the more that you put into it from a community point of view, you get active on Twitter, you join watch parties, things like that, and I'll show you what I did. But I just firstly wanted to just, like I say, just kind of remind you that these keynotes are all there to watch. We've got all the on-demand services, so I mean, as far as the sessions go, we can click onto the session catalog, and you can see that my schedule, I've picked on a few bits and pieces in there, and I can click on that and watch those on-demand series now. But essentially, you can click through to these, for example, Envisioning Tomorrow, and you can see there straight away it's going to start loading and playing. So we can watch that on an on-demand service. So I'll put the links below, but go and check those out. Some of the other announcements before we get into the main part of this video are part of the Ignite. They announced this Cloud Skills Challenge. So again, if you're familiar with Cloud Skills Challenge, you'll obviously know what they're about. But fundamentally, what Microsoft do is they package up a bunch of Microsoft Learn modules. So in a particular area, and they gamify basically a learning opportunity, and in doing some of this learning, you can earn yourself a free Microsoft certification, and they're worth around, I think it's around £140. I think we pay for a typical Microsoft exam in the UK at the moment. So they're obviously well worth their weight in gold. So these Cloud Skills Challenge, I believe there were 7 that Microsoft announced. So you've got things like, M365 Enterprise Admin Challenge, Azure Data Scientist, Identity and Information Protection, and obviously things like Teams Admin, Azure Admin. So there's lots of different areas that you can get into, and fundamentally, you click into the challenge. This one I've completed. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd already done quite a lot of the Learn modules, so I think there were 2 or 3 modules that I hadn't completed for this one. But you can see we've still got well over 3 weeks to take part in this. So fundamentally, if I click on Continue Learning for this particular track, so the Azure Admin Challenge, you can see that I've got a whole bunch. Does it tell me? Yeah, we've got 22 modules there, essentially. So 22 modules, and it's a great platform to learn from. If you've not used Microsoft Learn before, jump on in, get yourself a little profile set up, and just get stuck in. They're nice, easy to manage modules. You can see that the average time is written next to each module. To be honest with you, I always find that's always on the high side. But then again, I don't always take part in all the interactive elements, because if it's a subject that I'm quite familiar with, then, obviously I skip over those parts. But if you're starting off from scratch, it's a fantastic set of resources. And like I say, if you complete an entire challenge, I believe it's an entire challenge, I'll check, but if you complete all those modules, 100% complete, you'll automatically get an email, I think sometime in May. There are some terms and conditions that you can have a read of. April, I think, sorry, not May. You'll get a voucher code essentially added to your profile, or you get an email to say that. And you can hook up your exam, your Pearson VUE profile to claim that, and obviously book an exam through them. So I just wanted to call that out, because they always do fantastic challenges, and it's always brilliant to get involved. So go and check that out. So the main part of it, again, I'll put the links to this. So the Ignite March 2021 Book of News, it's a document that I've been used to over the years, getting a hold of, at least in the early part of the sessions, just so you can kind of see some of the main announcements that you can expect over the duration of an Ignite session. As it happened, this came out before Ignite started, so it was great. I mean, you could kind of get a bit of a feel for what those announcements were. And I just want to call out a few. I'm not going to go through all of them, but if we look at the table of contents, we can see it's structured into, sort of main key technology areas. So we've got Azure, Business Applications, Industry Cloud, M365 and Modern Workplace, Security Compliance and Identity, and then something around skilling and cert. So, like I said, I'm not going to jump through every one of them, but you can see if we just click through each of these areas, we've got a few announcements that we can click through and have a look on Azure AI, Azure Data. I think that the one main call out for Azure Data was this, the ability to have an Azure Managed Instance for Apache Cassandra DB, and that's been put into a preview state at the moment. So that was quite a nice session that I caught there, and it's well worth having a little look at, especially if you are using Cassandra in your organization. Skipping down Azure data centers. So Microsoft are adding a data center region in China, and they're also saying that the Azure Resource Mover has now gone GA. So if you've not seen the announcements on Resource Mover, I mean, firstly, the fact that Microsoft again are expanding, they've got to be well up into the 60s in terms. I've not checked the numbers now, but yeah, last time I checked it was 60 something. But they've got to be well up into the 60s in terms of regions and data centers now, which is fantastic to see. There's, so much expansion going on and so many different options, the ability to kind of set up those regions in China. So China has traditionally been always a bit of a tricky area to kind of work with from a governance and obviously data sovereignty and position generally over the years. So the fact that Microsoft have got a data center region opening up there in northern China is great. I mean, the expansion is fantastic to see. So yeah, like I say, if you've not seen Azure Resource Mover, so that ability now to run some utilities to move resources between regions, it's a great utility. So go and check that out. From a dev and ecosystem, again, there's been quite a lot of announcements from from that area. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just to call things out, things like ACS, so Azure Communication Services, has gone GA. That's good to see. I didn't spot that in the week, only now, just looking at this book of news. And they've got interoperability with Microsoft Teams. So again, Azure Communication Services is that rich set of tooling and APIs that you can use to kind of bring that real-time communication and chat, video, voice to your business applications or your business website and hook it into things in the back end. So fantastic to see that has gone generally available, and I will certainly be looking into what this interoperability with Microsoft Teams is all about. Okay, I'll just scroll down some of these now. Yeah, that's another interesting call out, actually, the private Azure Marketplace. So being from a Microsoft partner, the public Azure Marketplace has obviously been around for a long time. You can see that there are solutions and offerings from lots of different partners across the world. I mean, personally, I've used it to put up, the company I work for, BT, to put up sort of consultancy offerings and things like that businesses can take hold of. Now, the concept of the private Azure Marketplace has also been around for a little while, but it's the ability to really target who you're giving particular offers to. So you can push your offers up into the Azure Marketplace, and by tenant ID, you can push those private offers to a particular customer, a particular company, whatever it may be. So basically in the Azure Marketplace, it comes up, you get a little badge says you've got private offers, and you can make use of those. So in other words, your offer isn't open to the entire world. It's just available to the tenants or the subscriptions that you kind of target. So that's gone generally available. Like I say, I've worked with that in the past, over the past 18 months. So again, that's a great announcement to see, and I'll certainly be checking out to see what kind of updates they've made with that. Okay, moving on. So I suppose the closest to my heart is this space here. So Azure Hybrid Infra Migrate Services. So I must be honest, I didn't spot too much. I did watch one session around the Azure infrastructure updates that I was kind of part watching, and I need to go back, but I was kind of watching some of the sessions that are kind of a little bit less close to my heart, just to kind of get a good feel for what was going on around the area. But okay, Azure Arc updates, and I don't mean to skip over these in any way to say that they're not important announcements, but just things that are kind of sticking out to me at the minute. So obviously we've got the traditional kind of announcement of a new operating system. So with Windows Server 2022, with that going into preview from this week's announcements. Hybrid networking updates, more networking updates, Azure Monitor updates. So let's have a little look. Azure Migration Tools, Services and Guidance expanded. So, okay, Microsoft had done some tweaks of their AMP program, so the Azure Migration program. They're talking about Fast Track for Azure. That was one thing actually I did find. I don't know if they mention it here, but the inclusion now of that hybrid story around the cloud adoption framework documentation and guidance. So I use this guidance on a daily basis with my job, with the customers that I work with, and for the solutions that I architect to kind of bring things together. It's a fantastic set of resources if you've not come across CAF, Cloud Adoption Framework. And I know that Microsoft have now included that additional governance, that hybrid recommendations and set of best practices and experiences. So I'll probably be doing a little bit of an update around that at some point soon. Azure IoT. I did pick up a couple of actually you can see there are a couple of announcements. So Azure IoT updates. The one thing about this Azure Percept now, which is quite an interesting concept, so Microsoft to go in again into the hardware space with IoT edge devices and the ability to bring AI machine learning modules essentially onto those edge devices. So of course that processing can be done in a lot quicker and real time when you've got particular edge devices. Now I believe Percept, again, don't quote me, I've read up on it a little bit, but you've got you can run AI models, low power cameras, audio devices. So you've got vision, you've got audio, and a whole bunch of other things from this Azure Percept. So you've got this concept of the Azure Percept Studio. So that whole life cycle of those devices is now being taken care of. But it's just really fantastic to see, and it's something that I'm personally aspiring to get to, because I can see a lot of work in the future going into these edge devices, these IoT / AI machine learning models that are doing something at the edge of your network, and then doing something with that information, like storing it locally, pushing up to the cloud, doing some additional processing, whatever it may be. But that's a really interesting announcement as far as I'm concerned from an IoT perspective. Okay, some more announcements around mixed reality. Now, to be honest, for me, this was one of the biggest announcements. Microsoft have published some more sort of Azure remote rendering and object anchors, so that whole augmented reality thing. But Microsoft Mesh, I think it's fair to say, was probably one of the big announcements from this year's Ignite. Again, I've watched some of the promo videos. I watched the keynote from Alex, which was basically conducted with a pair of HoloLens glasses on, and people were invited to join over AltSpace VR, which is an application, and you could join with your Oculus Quest, your Oculus Rift, other VR headsets, or if you're fortunate enough to have a HoloLens, join with the HoloLens. But it was fantastic. I'd recommend anybody to go back and watch those keynotes around that. But everybody joined, was kind of sat in a virtual audience and could look around and watch the session as it goes. And really that announcement around Microsoft Mesh, what it means to me is they're kind of including that eventually that interaction with, obviously with Teams, with all the development that's gone on with the HoloLens. But now it's about that space where everybody can come together either in an augmented reality style with a pair of HoloLens glasses on, and you can look around and see objects kind of superimposed across your physical world, or you can join with a virtual reality headset. So you've got essentially a VR world, and you're an avatar. You're kind of like a set of pixels in there, but you're interacting with other people in that space. So it's quite a mix-up. It might sound a little bit far-fetched, but I would recommend people to look at that, because it's certainly these kind of things inspire me. And you can see there, they've got a bit of an overview as to what Microsoft. But for me, Microsoft Mesh was definitely one of the big announcements. And I've recently on Twitter followed the mixed reality developer program, really, because I'm really keen to see how that is going to move forward, and really what that means for business. That some of the applications that I've already seen in development and are developed for HoloLens, fantastic. I know Toyota have taken up, Microsoft have said that Toyota have taken up quite a lot of kind of innovation pathways with development of the HoloLens, for kind of looking at and analysing where things need to be in cars, and that overlay of wiring diagrams and components. The use in healthcare for doctors and sort of remote diagnosis and things like that is fantastic. It's just such a great inspirational way of looking at work. So Microsoft Mesh, big one from Ignite this year. WVD, let's have a look. So there's some Azure Monitor updates. Okay, WVD is obviously, it's a great solution that is hosted in Azure. It's certainly a solution I've worked with a number of customers over the last 2 years. Well, no, it's about 18 months. I think it was around about December 20. I can't remember what day it is, but it's around about 18 months coming up to now that it was released for the UK market. And then, of course, we had the big spring update, which kind of ARM templatized it all. So, I mean, I've been following along with WVD. We deployed it for a few of my customers, and it's just great to see that solution is going from strength to strength. Okay, so from an Azure point of view, that's quite a fair summary, and I'm just checking on time of the video, but I want to call out some other bits and pieces. I'm not going to focus too much more on this because obviously, my primary focus is Azure, but I still have M365 close to my heart in certain areas. Dynamics isn't something that I work with an awful lot, so I'm going to skip over Dynamics. Power Platform is definitely something I'm using more of. Obviously there's been some great announcements in those regards as well. Now, industry cloud is one thing that kind of caught my eye. Now, again, I've been working with the healthcare cloud for a little while now in my day job. So it's this vertical alignment across the Microsoft product stack to kind of cater for industry specific requirements. So it's really great to see that Microsoft have, they've not only got the, you can see there that there's a couple of new clouds. So we've already got the Microsoft Cloud for Healthcare, which, it launched, about 6 months or so ago. But we've got this financial services, we've got manufacturing, we've got non-profit. So what Microsoft have done now is they've tried to verticalize the kind of offerings, not just in Azure, but across 365, M365 and Dynamics 365 to kind of give those end-to-end solution journey that takes components from all of those platforms and is now offering it. Now, I don't know the details yet on these particular clouds, but the one, obviously my background is a manufacturing background. I worked with a manufacturing company for a significant number of years in both sides of the fence. So I'm really keen to understand what this manufacturing cloud is actually going to cover. I'm hoping we're going to get all brilliant goodness like being able to use IoT and obviously the Teams client and add-ins and obviously the Azure platform. It's just that holistic joined up view of all the Microsoft features, tools and services, how they've pieced them together. So definitely something I'm going to be reading into a little bit more. Brilliant to see these kind of things coming out. And then you can see, so you can see a quick summary on what each of these new clouds is all about. So take a look at that. I wanted to call that bit out. Okay. M365 of Modern Workplace. I did hear that there were some really good announcements. Now, there is one that I want to call out. I don't know if it's written in here, but I mean, there's been a tremendous number of Teams announcements, and it's again really exciting to see from new presenter layouts. I'm aware they've raised the numbers of meeting joins now. They've got this concept of being able to register for a meeting and a presenter mode, which enables a presenter to kind of configure how they want their audio, video, screen share all to look and be presented out to that particular. It's almost like a webinar setup. Obviously, they've added some additional security, privacy, and compliance features. I will call out one extra bit. Microsoft Teams Connect strength. There is one, I'm not sure why it's not written in there, but it was announced on the 2nd of March. I'll get to that in a second, but around Teams. But brilliant to see. Teams as a product and a client has been updated significantly. The feature updates that are being made available are fantastic. The speed that Microsoft kind of changed to that whole COVID way of working, where instead of having the 6 or 8, whatever it was, views and cameras that you could see at any one time, they kind of scaled it up. Arguably, Zoom already had it, but Microsoft scaled it up quite quickly at the beginning of COVID, and they've taken that further. The gallery view is huge now. You can see a tremendous number of cameras on there, and they've got together mode and lots of different ways of being able to configure how you consume and how you communicate with friends, colleagues, family. Okay, security, compliance, and identity. There is a call out on security that I'm going to do in a second, but clearly the investment from a security and compliance perspective is obviously paramount to everything that we do. There wasn't anything in particular that I saw other than this one here. So this again was quite a big announcement and arguably a long time coming, but we've been talking for a number of years now, I would suggest, around this whole password mentality that let's just face it, a lot of us traditionally have, any application, service, whatever it be, from our phone to our PC, our banking, we log on traditionally with the username and password. And I think generally people are now getting the whole multi-factor. People will then have a PIN or a text message or a phone call that kind of enables that log on. If you're watching this as a friend or family member, then switch on MFA wherever possible. Now, this whole concept of passwordless authentication is really taking away that ability to kind of have to remember something, or so the remit was that it's either going to be something that you know, like a password, something that you are, like a fingerprint or an eye scan, or something that you know that defines you as a person, or something that you have. So that something you have would be either a mobile phone with an app on it, or a text message that would come through. Now, what Microsoft have done here is they've teamed up specifically with this technology called Windows Hello for Business, and they've got this FIDO2 security keys, which I've got one in a drawer down there. But the ability to essentially forget about passwords in general, just use a secure key that you can now take with you. It can either be an RFID, a USB key, that now all of a sudden that is your identity. So you can obviously have a multi-factor approach to that, but you don't have to remember these passwords. So basically Microsoft have announced this now. It's rolled out. I've already seen it appear when you log on through the Azure the ability to log on. You've got the option there now to use passwordless authentication, which really is taking security to that extra level. Brilliant to see. Okay. And where are we? So skilling and cert updates. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else from a security point of view that I wanted to call out there, but basically the one main, so obviously, I mean, we've got a WVD exam, another beta exam. I say beta, I think it may be in beta. It's the AZ140 is being launched this month for WVD. Definitely exam that will go on my long list of things to do. But it's great to see now that Microsoft is starting to diversify their exam certs quite a lot in focusing them a bit more than they maybe were originally. But the main announcement that kind of was talked about a little while back, we had an announcement. We had an announcement a few months back, but it launched during this month now, from March onwards. Is this certification? I can't even say certification renewal assessment. So rather than as an IT admin, IT pro, whatever the exam is that you've taken, rather than them expiring after 2 years, you having to book another exam of an updated exam, go and resit that exam, you've now got the ability to just renew your current certification for an additional year. So as it happened, my Azure Experts badge was expiring in July. Anytime before, 6 months prior to that expiration, you'll get an email. You'll be invited to log on, do this renewal process, and you've then renewed your certification for another year. Brilliant announcement as far as I'm concerned when it comes to learning and certs. Like I said, I had my first email earlier on the week. I thought it's an open book. You can take it as many times as you like. Literally, I jumped on. I thought, let's have a look. I think it was 26 questions, something like that. And they are very much in the style of the exam questions. But the point is, you've got Google at your behest. Obviously you can take your time over it. There's no time limit, and even if you fail it the first time, I understand you can retake it. So I mean, with Azure the Expert, it's been my day job. There's quite a lot in there that I do on a fairly regular basis, but there were definitely areas that I don't touch that frequently. So when those questions came up, I could jump on over to Microsoft Learn, to the Docs website, have a little read, glean the answer, and in doing that, I'm then bringing my knowledge up to speed. So I think the way that worked was fantastic, and it's really great to see. So really keen to see what the other ones. I think I've got some more exams coming up to expire within the 6 month time frame fairly soon. So I'll report back on those. So that was my book of news update. Obviously I've made a link to a few other bits and pieces now, but there was this video on Microsoft Mesh that got launched at the same time. I think really for me, it's just about that kind of experience of having your mind sparked to look at what is coming in the future. I'd love to be a part of this technically. I'd love to be speaking to customers about this and how we can engage and work these kind of things into our daily lives. For a lot of people, this is too much too soon, maybe, and I get that. This is kind of the bleeding edge of technology, I guess, and there's lots of things businesses need to do to get up to these kinds of levels. However, I just find it brilliant to see how Microsoft are kind of focusing on that vision of what the future might look like, and really making it accessible for people like me who are IT geeks and tech pros and want to get involved in these kind of things and really want to make use of that technology for the best for the people that I'm privileged to go out and be able to speak to about it and help and architect solutions for. So like I said, I just called out that little video there. It sounds a bit funny, but I did watch this and it was, I did get, oh my God, that's fantastic to see. Not that I hadn't seen HoloLens, and again, HoloLens has been around for a good few years now, and some of the demos and things that you can do are absolutely fantastic. But this whole thing of looking at these videos and just having your imagination spark, that's what it's about for me. So good call out for Microsoft Mesh there. Okay, other announcements around Microsoft security learning content. So if you've been paying close attention, again, Microsoft Learn and their certification path, Microsoft have released a few security exams over the last couple of weeks, and they were kind of broadcast over the Ignite as well. So we've got these security exams: a beta exam, a security operations analyst beta, identity and access administrator, and info protection admin. So we got those SC 900, 200, 300, and 400. All out in beta now, and I believe if you register and you're one of the first 300s, I think you get 80% discount at the moment. So it's possibly worth. I don't know. They're probably all full up, to be honest. Now after Ignite, they probably went quite quickly. I put together this quick blog post really just to call out the fact that Microsoft have launched this security technical content library, and there's a whole bunch of ninja training down here for the various different areas. So Sentinel, Defender for Endpoint, 365 Defender, Cloud App Security. But this security technical content library I thought was brilliant. So if you're looking for a particular thing from a security perspective, so whether it be identity or threat protection, or a particular product across Microsoft, it's all in here. You can kind of take your pick. You can take the options that you want to look at. Scroll down, and you'll be presented with a whole bunch of learning resources. So I mean, I don't know, if I just click on Azure Defender for a minute, the content library goes off, does a little search, and we've got all of these different sort of modules that we can take a look at. So describe concepts and methodologies. Lo and behold, takes us back over to Microsoft Learn. So really, if you're looking to do one of those security exams, again, I can't stress enough, the amount of content that has gone into Microsoft Learn is phenomenal. Brilliant to see. Moving on. So this is what I wanted to call out from a Teams point of view. Operator Connect around Teams calling updates. Now, I mean, this is an Azure sort of focused talk that I tend to look at on my channel and my socials. However, for those of you that know me a bit more, you'll know that my background is very much in unified comms, messaging, and enterprise voice. So I've dealt with OCS, Link, Skype for Business, Teams, Exchange Online, migrations, all of that great stuff. And I work for a company that is quite large in the UK for telecoms, as it happened. So to see this announcement, knowing the work that I've been working with BT over the last 8 years, it's really exciting to see the development of the democratization of these calling plans and calling packages. So essentially, this Operator Connect, you can see that BT, clearly in the UK, are going to be one of the large partners, but I believe this is globally as well. But you can see there's a handful of telecoms providers that have kind of partnered up with Microsoft and give the ability now to set up your calls and your dial plans and your calling plans directly from the Teams Admin Center. You can now go and buy, I say now, I don't even know if this is out in GA, so let's just have a quick read. Don't know exactly when the dates are, but I'm guessing the fact that it's been introduced, whether it's in beta or trial at the moment, I'm not sure. Might need to check that out. But the point is, it's coming. If it's not already, it's coming. We've got the Teams Admin Center. We can go and now buy a BT set of DDI phone numbers, attach them to your user, and give people enterprise voice, as well as other providers, of course. So I just wanted to call that out. There's some great information there that you can see. Again, I'll put some links to this below, but you can see now all of that can be controlled via the Teams Admin Center. There's just a quick update around about that cert renewal process. Again, I'll put a link to that in the notes below, and this is just some information about the details around that renewal process as well. Okay. In other news related to Ignite, I as you know, I'm always on the socials, making a bit of a nuisance of myself, and posted this tweet just to say getting ready. And Joey Snow, he called it out on the live show, which to be honest, it made my day. So I mean, I'll quickly put the video on so you can see that.
And now getting out there and making it easier to administrate, even better. Hey, my good buddy Jonnychipz, that's Chips with a Z, is here. He's getting ready for Ignite Day 2 in the UK, about to catch up from overnight sessions. Woo-hoo! He's powered through. He was on with us when we first took a quick break, and now he's back again. He says he may start a cloud skills challenge. Yes, absolutely. Are we doing the identity, sir? Is that what we're targeting? Just asking. More on that tomorrow. But hey, listen, do it, Jonnychipz with a Z.
I love it. Also, he did call you by your proper name.
So there we go. Quite funny. I love getting involved with those. I follow Joey Snow and Rick Claus for years. It seems now, for years and years, probably at least 7 or 8 years. I'd probably suggest. But yeah, I mean, it's just great. Those guys are in the community. I mean, certainly Rick is really, you know, he talks to my kind of job function in the IT ops, the traditional infrastructure kind of background person. I mean, it's great that, you know, the content, the information, where they are with Microsoft. It's just great that they're fun guys, you know, getting involved and helping community people and people like me alike. So really great to see that, and obviously that made my day, that call out. Just wanted to show. I mean, I consumed a bit of Ignite this year over on the Patch and Switch Twitch TV watch party. So Jared and Pierre were kind of taking the place of, well, obviously Jared is always on the show as the audio guy, but Pierre jumped on to kind of fill the place of Rick and Joey because they were off doing the live shows. But it was a great fun interaction. You know, there's probably about 20-25 people in there, all having a bit of a natter, watching some of the keynotes and the sessions as they were appearing on the live stream, and, you know, just having a little bit of fun with the guys there. So if you're not on that, I believe it's every 2 weeks Patch and Switch do a bit of a random active streaming, I think they call them, but they obviously jump onto the stream and talk a little bit around tech. So, you know, I urge you to go and have a little look at that if you get a chance. Okay, so Microsoft Ignite Special. I'm going to see if I can change my my little ticker there to my Jonnychipz on the side ticker, because we're going to move over. There we go. We can. So Jonnychipz on the side. It's not quite Jonnychipz on the side, but it is. Huge thanks to my guest last week on In Conversation with Anae. It's had such a great bunch of feedback, and Nays has gone on to do some fantastic things. She's been given the accolade of the Cloud Family March Community Champion, which is great and obviously well deserved. She's been doing some fantastic work with Kubernetes and DevOps and the learnings and what she's putting back out into the community through a blog and a YouTube. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. It's up on my YouTube now, or the Azure Live YouTube. And don't forget, tonight, 6:30 p.m. on it's the 5th of March. My next episode goes out with David Sellers. So David is he's a tech recruiter based just down the road from me, as it happens. I mean, I've known David for a number of years now, so he gave me a call. We arranged this talk, and it was just really an insightful talk around the recruitment industry, and specifically around the tech and the cloud space at the moment. What businesses that are approaching Dave and his company are looking for from a tech professional, what kind of expectations these businesses have got. He gives us some great hints and tips and cool pointers around CVs and socials and things like that. So that's 6:30 over on the Azure Live Twitch stream tonight. Again, links are below. Join in the chat, and if you miss that, it'll be available on demand on the YouTube as well. So please do like and subscribe, and click the little bell notification to get notified when I get some more videos up. Other quick call out: Scottish Summit. What a fantastic event last weekend. So last Saturday, I was one of 60 or so volunteers that helped. I think it's probably fair to say oil the wheels of the Scottish Summit. It was a virtual event that happened last Saturday. There was about 3,500 or more sessions. Some of those were recorded, some of those were live. So myself, I got involved with another guy over in the US, Jamie. Hello, Jamie, if you're watching. We helped to moderate the security room, so really get the speakers in, get them set up on their live sessions, kick those sessions off with the speakers, and obviously make sure that people were being interactive in the chat and stuff like that. Huge congratulations to the organisers really of that event. It was such a fantastic event to see. I know that all of that content now is being uploaded to the Scottish Summit YouTube video. I see the regular updates, and you can see they've actually set a lot of the sessions. There is such a lot of content, and it covers so many different areas. It covers, I would probably say, the entire Microsoft stack in most respects. So if you're looking for some up-to-date new content in a specific area, jump on, go to scottishsummit.com, go to their Scottish Summit YouTube channel, subscribe, go and have a look at that good stuff. And I think we're done. I mean, this has been a bit of a bumper episode again, 40 minutes plus, but I hope I've kind of echoed my thoughts and feelings about the whole Ignite session. Really, I can't wait until the next session. I very much doubt that's going to be an in-person event later this year. It'd be wishful thinking. I'm not sure if Microsoft would have the time, nor do we know if we're going to be able to do that kind of thing yet. I don't think we're out of the woods yet, unfortunately. So looking forward to the next virtual event if that's what it is to be. No problem, that's great. But obviously can't wait to get back to the physical face-to-face meetups. It's going to be fantastic. So yeah, I've skipped over the Welsh Azure user group updates, but just don't forget about that. Go and register. We've got our next event on the 18th of March, our lightning talk session. There's so much going on at the moment in the community. It's just fantastic to see. Thanks to everybody for watching this video, for all the support that you've given me personally and on my socials. Thank you. It really does mean a lot. Really appreciate it. And obviously thanks to everybody that's interacted with me from a point of view of giving me knowledge, pointing me in the right direction, and really engaging and helping me learn and grow as an individual as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks so much for sticking around and watching. Like I say, please subscribe, click the bell notification on the YouTube. I would most appreciate it. And until next time, this has been Jonnychipz Weekly, episode number 10, and I will catch you all next week.